Okay, back on live, back on live, back on live. How's everyone doing? Just making sure everything is working fine. Okay, we've got the audio working. Okay, everything's looking good. All right, perfect. Ready to go, ready to go. How's everyone doing? Before we get into it, what were your thoughts on Tyler the Creator's Capsule collection at Louis Vuitton? If you have any thoughts, of course, that's up to you. Very cute, insane monogram. Interesting. Aaron says tacky, sick as fuck. Super interested on your thoughts on this. Yep, that's what we're going to talk about today. So it should be fun. Proving our points about Pharrell. Jeez, what points? Leo says it's cool, makes a lot of sense, but kind of feel like we've been primed for it. Interesting points. I'm waiting for two people to join the live, and then we'll start getting into it because we actually have a funny backstory when they jump in. A really funny backstory. So I was supposed to do a live on Peter Doe's collection. So the reason why I didn't do it is because I basically got really busy with like work and stuff, especially because it was like London Fashion Week shortly after. So I'm actually planning to do that live tomorrow. So the New York Fashion Week brand sort of live. I'm planning to do that tomorrow. So yeah, look out for that. But yeah, I was just too busy with work basically. Hello there, Mr. December.
Let me see. So my audio out. Here we go.
We can hear you. You're a bit louder.
No, I was saying I couldn't hear you. Can you hear me better now?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Is it crisp?
Yeah, you look fine. You look good.
I'm
I
on the
see you've got the
audio, but
ambiance.
thanks. I
I see
appreciate it.
I see you've got the ambiance going on, you've got the lights. I said, okay, so this is a cool little setup. I see you.
You know what? Let me join in Chrome. Don't like this browser.
I love making fun of Micah. It's so entertaining. Are you going to talk about the new Yeezy collection, which has artwork I've got? Yeah, I didn't plan on talking about that, to be honest. So yeah, where's the tea and toast? Oh my god.
Yes. Okay.
What's wrong with what were you in before? Safari?
Brave. It's like a Chrome. It's a different type of Chrome. It just has
Okay,
no ads.
okay. Micah, they're telling you they're still waiting on the video. What video did you promise people?
Don't worry, guys. It's actually coming. No, you know what it was? So I use these headphones to do all my editing and mixing, and they've been broken the last couple of weeks. But yeah, it's now that I've got my headphones back, the video is coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's a good one too. Don't worry, guys.
Someone said you're about to say this Tyler collection is filler. Oh, the people that comment in this live stream are so funny. They are
They,
absolutely hilarious.
they said Micah has not come bearing good news. They said Micah won't come bearing good news. Oh, that's funny, man.
Let me see if when Dami's gonna come.
Yeah, tell
Otherwise,
them to
we'll
lock
just
in
start
quick.
talking about it. Otherwise, we'll just jump straight into it. But yeah,
Someone
people are
said, "Do you
pressed
think Gosha?"
about my opinions on Twitter. We were talking about it earlier. Because I said that I prefer Tyler the Creator's designs to Pharrell Williams, like in terms of designing clothes. And what people are saying on Twitter is basically, are you trolling or do you not know that Tyler is inspired by Pharrell?
I mean, no
That's
comment,
Twitter
man.
for you.
No
That's
comment,
Twitter.
man. Twitter's the only place you can say I like apples, and everyone will be like, "Wow, this guy hates oranges."
They're like, there's some funny responses actually on Twitter. Someone said he said he prefers the student to the teacher.
Oh, yeah, that's a funny response.
That's what a lot of people are saying. He
That's a
prefers the
funny
student to the
response.
teacher.
I think people forget all these things are about context as well. Like,
Yeah, of course, of course, of course.
how
Okay,
far's
Danny's here.
Danny? Calm.
You
Big
might
man
want to
thing.
browser because I can hear myself echoing, dummy. Just in case.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
it's,
dead
it's
there.
all good now. It's all good now.
All right, calm.
Damn, man's got the ring light too. You lot are set up.
Yeah.
What can I say? What can I say?
To be honest, she wasn't supposed to see it, but this thing's bright.
It's only because of the glasses. It's because of your glasses.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, it's reflecting off your sunglasses.
Yeah. They're tints.
Okay, now that Dami's here, we can basically jump straight into it. So essentially what happened was what happened? Oh, Dami's on smoke, you can tell. That's hilarious.
I don't know what you're talking about right now. I just adjusted my lights.
Let me put this on. But anyway, to jump straight into it, what happened is Tyler the Creator was invited as a guest designer to design a capsule collection at Louis Vuitton. So that is what we're talking about today. The collection will actually go live and be sold on the 21st of March. So we have from now till the 21st of March to sort of look at the clothes, see what people like, and all those kind of things. But to you, Micah and Dami, what did you think of the collection? Just like first thoughts. And also, what do you think of Tyler designing at LV in general? Because I remember we were going back to that clip from my past Fashion Week vlog where you guys were talking about Pharrell and Tyler the Creator at LV.
I'll let Dammy start this one off. What's the first question? What's the first question?
First thoughts on the collection.
Yeah, I think especially from like Tyler's POV, as someone who's like he's actively working on getting like one of his brands, the Fleur, to like a luxury space and stuff like that. I think this is like really cool from his perspective, and especially because like he's been working with Pharrell for years, big fan of LV for years, and now he gets to like deal with both of those in a double whammy. In that sense, I think that's really cool. Like from that cultural standpoint, especially.
Mm.
I think as well the collection is very like Tyler and the Fleur coded. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
More so than LV coded, I'd say.
Dami, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I was just like getting up the images so that I can like really register everything again, like just with fresh eyes. But obviously you go up here, I see it on the
Yeah, if
live
you
stream
go on
and everything like
GQ,
that.
GQ has like the lookbook. Do you want me to send you the link?
All right.
Yeah, I've got the link.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah. All right.
I
So
came
yeah,
here
like
ready. Don't worry.
I'm really like fairly low key kind of biased. Love Tyler the Creator. But fortunately, this can be a positive bias because like the work is good, isn't it? Like the it may hinder some criticism, but not necessarily all of it. However, it really is like when you said it's Lafleur coded more than LV coded. I can understand where that sentiment comes from, like with the shorts and the like trunk socks and all of these other things. Those
Just
are
the
like,
aesthetic. It looks kind of
yeah,
preppy, which is like Tyler Creator's thing,
Tyler's,
isn't it?
yeah. Um, I it's just that I've also seen those things at LV, also.
Hmm.
But it is quite like call me if you get lost esque type stuff, and
Mm.
the styling mainly I would say would be like pure television. So it's kind of one of those things that once I heard it, like I think Michael was probably the first person to tell me about it, and I was like,
Mm.
I need to see it, and then it sounds about right though, and yeah, like no, but the collection in terms of like the styling and the images that we've got, they look quite good to be fair. The editorial looks phenomenal.
To bounce off of what you said and answer a couple of questions in the comments I'm seeing. So this is a capsule collection. It's not. I saw different publications misusing the right terminology. Some people called it like, oh, their new spring summer collection or something like
Oh
that.
yeah,
Like
definitely
it's
not
a
that.
it's a capsule collection. So to the people making jokes that I'd call it filler. In this case, it's not actually filler because they're not replacing anything. This is just in addition. This is bonus. So like I can't really complain in that same way if I didn't like it. Um, but no, I think the reason I geared more towards Lafleur coded as opposed to um, saying that there wasn't much LV in it is because I think that one, at this current moment in time, there's no real like defining look to LV, I'd say. Whereas a lot of these looks are pretty like defining looks to Tyler. And in that regard, I feel like if he had done this kind of collaboration with a different brand, the end result would be fairly similar, just maybe with a different logo or a different monogram or whatever. So I was saying that like, okay, this look that we have on the screen right now, I feel like if he went to Lacoste and wanted a like bigger collaboration, we could have easily got a look like this out of Lacoste, which is why I
Yeah,
feel like that the collaboration is far more skewed towards Tyler as opposed to and Lafleur, as opposed to being like a perfect meeting down the middle for the two brands. And I was saying that like from what I've seen anyway, I feel like under Virgil, collaborations tended to have a bit more LV DNA in them thus far. But you know, it's still early on in the kind of Pharrell era of the house, so perhaps that's
yeah.
why Tyler's been
Can
able
I
to
can
kind
I say
of
something?
yeah.
Okay, now I'm activated. So you said a couple of things here. So I'm gonna have to write the first thing down. So but when you said that it was more LV Virgil's LV was more LV coded. I don't know.
No, I
I
said
tend to
I feel
disagree.
like collaborations under Virgil tended to
Okay.
have more of his LV's DNA in them. So I'm thinking
Oh, okay.
immediately came to mind was Nigo's. When LV and Nigo linked up, I felt more of Virgil's LV in the collaboration. And he, in general, just had a lot of capsules. And I often felt like, wow, this felt like Virgil era LV collaborating with whoever they're collaborating with. Whereas for
Yeah.
this collaboration, to me, it feels more just like, oh, they kind of given Tyler a lot of free reign, and Pharrell didn't come along and guide his
Yeah, I
heels
was
too much.
just to add on that quickly. In this actual article with GQ, obviously they had an interview, and Pharrell Williams did actually say himself that inside a lot of the pieces he built a lot of personal elements. So a lot of his personal elements are put into the collection, which is why obviously you were saying it's Golf Lafleur sort of coded, which makes a lot of sense because he has that sort of preppy, colorful pastel colors all over the collection. I think it also makes sense for many reasons. Like obviously, Tyler the Creator and Pharrell Williams have been friends for a long time. Tyler, the Creator, and Pharrell Williams have actually worked on music with each other. Also, Tyler, the
Plenty
Creator
of times.
has exactly, and Tyler, the Creator has a really big luggage collection. He's really into his luggage. And then on top of that, he's collaborated with LV anyway. Remember when Virgil was still around, and he did some bits with Virgil, and he even walked the show as well. So he's kind of involved with the brand, involved with Pharrell, and also as a customer, but also as a collaborator as well. So the whole thing all just makes sense. But Damu, what are you going to say?
So I was gonna ask you, like, what everyone really knows about like Pharrell and his like mind, like just the different type of mind that Pharrell is. Like because I feel like there's some people that think Pharrell is like some hippie, like just old type of person, when in reality, if you really listen closely and like use like real new criticism, which is a term that I've come into today more recently, is that Pharrell isn't quite as quiet and unkept as people would have him, like as he would have people believe, right? So one of my main things with the Pharrellisms is that he is quite egotistical. And like what I mean by that is that
What makes you say that?
what the way, well, first of all, let me explain egotistical. As in he has a high ego, as in he's a very alpha personality in like a lot of respects and regards, and like he wants to be the best. That's technically what I mean by that. Like he just wants to be one of the greatest. And for as media trained as he is, you get him in a quiet room, he's talking about being the greatest. Like you know that clip that always
But do you
floats
think
around?
Pharrell Williams is media trained though? Because I don't
Yes.
like every time I watch an
Yeah.
interview
Yes.
with Pharrell,
Yes.
I know, but like
Yeah.
in terms of like people that are media trained normally give like answers that you can make sense from, but they don't really give you the full picture. But Pharrell just doesn't even give you a picture. You ask Pharrell, what are your inspirations of Louis Vuitton? And he's like, God.
You know what? I'm with
He's
you.
so
This is
cryptic.
the thing, and this is why I like deep dive into like not just when Pharrell speaks to people, because I think me and you have already had that conversation where it's like,
Yep.
what is Pharrell on about right now? And like, but here's my thing, right? Let me get to my point. So remember that clip of Tyler that floats around where it's like,
Oh, what the
do
Pharrell's
you
not
like
humble?
Pharrell
That's
was
one of my
like, do you want to
favorite
make
clips.
house music, right?
Oh, that one.
And he was like, oh yeah, you know, I like house music, I like the percussion. And he's like, no, music that will buy you a house. Like, and then there's you know, him with sessions with Jay-Z and Timberland, and like just the way that, and even him with
Teaching Timberland how to have the Justin Timberlake, how to have the right tone and stuff.
Like all of those things, like in terms of like he looks like he will see what Timberland's doing and be like, he can do better than that. Or he would see like be working with the clips and be like, yo, you need to be grabbier than that. Da, 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 da. It's one of
Is
those
that
like,
him being egotistical though? Is that just him wanting to be the
no.
best?
See, I used more colorful language just to like pronounce my point. But the main gist of what I was trying to say, to get back to the original thing, is that if Pharrell had done this on his ones, I feel like people would have said that this is Aim Leon Dore coded.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they would say that he's copying Aim Leon Dore. And in my personal thoughts, I don't think that Pharrell would ever have a bar of that. So when he's working with Tyler, the Creator now, like one thing that people should know is that when you introduce something to a company such as Louis Vuitton, that you are adding to their archives that they can pull from. So the IP is theirs. And what that means is that so long as it's happened, it can happen again, or it can be a reference that's pulled from again.
Right.
So when people are like, oh yeah, it can look like Lacoste, or it can look like I sincerely believe that if there was even an inkling, like the fact that there's even an inkling that people could think that if Tyler the Creator had never been a part of this collection, that people would think that Tyler the Creator had to be a part of this collection.
Mm-hmm.
And insofar as to say that is that Tyler Creator was a perfect part of this collaboration, because when he was doing the cowboy theme thing, people were like, what is he doing? If everybody kind of remembers that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for this one, people are like, it's more Tyler the Creator. But this is the thing, like, in my understanding, Pharrell's more so of a futurist thinker in terms of, oh, he's moving the needle forward. And he's gonna want to move the needle forward. And then when you start thinking about LV as a business and how you add to their lexicon, like, so the same way that it happened with Virgil, this LV collection, or should I say not just this LV
But
collection, but LV collection
sorry, quick
prior,
question.
so
Do
on.
you think that Pharrell Williams is moving the needle forward with his LV though?
This is the thing. There's a bigger plan at play. There has that in my opinion, there has to be a bigger plan at play, and it can't just be any one collection.
I'll be
Like,
so real with you. I feel like, I mean, maybe you're going to prove us wrong. I feel like you're overthinking it just a tad. I genuinely just think
okay,
Pharrell's like a genuinely big fan of Tyler's work, and they're
that's
good
fine.
friends. And obviously, Tyler already has a smaller relationship with the brand, and he managed to tap him in, and they worked on a really cool collection together between them. And then, boom, it comes out. It might happen again in the future. I mean, the Nigo collaboration wasn't just one time. That was obviously more and more. But in terms of when I say I feel like you're overthinking it, I just mean in regard to like all the stuff about like IP and stuff like that. Because
Wait, you
what I
think
was
I
going to say
overthink
is,
IP?
no, I
You
was
know
saying
what?
that like a lot of those pieces though, they've already made things like that in the past, so it's not like they can't make it again. They weren't introducing like completely new ideas into this with this collection. I don't think like lots of the pieces, like some of them you can see similar things under like Kim
Right.
Jones, for example, and stuff like that, or even this bag
This
where
bag,
Tyler's
yeah.
hand drawn the thing. I feel like look, that's very reminiscent
The
of like certain things
monogram, yeah.
The Murakami stuff. So I don't think anything they introduced was like, oh, we really need
So
these
is
new
it
ideas that we
so?
can pull off.
Okay, can I ask you the question then? So is it LaFleur coded or is it Murakami coded and Kim Jones coded?
I think well, see, that's an unfair question in the sense
It's
of like
not.
if
It's
you take
not.
no, let me finish. In the sense of if you take someone who's a product of all those things, because obviously Tyler's been so open about his biggest influences being Pharrell, Nigo, LV, and then obviously all three of those things are influences of each other. So that's why I'm like, oh, of course, because I think if you go on the next post, Io, he breaks down like, oh, this is I included this thing because of blah blah blah. I think it's on the Instagram post after this one. So he says like, oh, I
Okay.
used pastel colors because pastel colors are what we use in the fleur. I use this dog because this dog's our mascot. The other way, the other way.
Yeah.
Wait, which one?
Yeah,
So
this
he
post,
says
this
The
post.
dog one?
hand-drawn monograms, wavy soles, waffle and butter sandals, dogs, pastel colors, all that. I wanted to mix my style and Louis Vuitton's codes together in a way that felt slightly whimsical, but could be worn to the gas station on a Tuesday. What an experience being in that office, imagination running wild. Have you seen that chessboard? I had a real late night editing these photos. I'm happy to finally share this collection and lookbook with you guys. Still can't believe it. Collection out March 21st.
Okay,
So
like
so yeah, I
this
just
is
genuinely
kind of
think that they. Oh yeah, sorry, what are you saying?
yeah. I just wanted to add like I I think it's I think I'm thinking simply. I don't think that I'm thinking like, extravagantly when I talk about IP, honestly. And like so is the waffle like wavy soles, are they mischief coded? Because this is my thing, right? When it comes to understanding references, And like, you know, it's so weird that we always come back to this conversation, right? Because when it comes to not just IP, but the way that people reference themselves and pull from like historical artifacts, right? These things not just sandwich one another, but they feed to something. And the fact that you can feed LV this, because he also said, my main focus was making things I would wear all the time. And this is kind of one of those things where, as much as it's part of his daily life, these certain things are styled, and not even just style, but certain looks, certain sentiments are pronounced in a way whereby you understand that this is part of Tyler the Creator's thing, right? And you know, we can take it back to the conversation in Paris, but like in all actuality, I want to move the conversation forward to like where this could go. And in my opinion, humbly, I do believe that Pharrell's the type of person that has a bigger plan than whatever any individual collection. And
I
you
mean,
know,
he might do, but if I'm going to be totally honest, whatever his bigger plan is, I'm definitely not seeing it through the clothes because I mean, from what the collections we've seen from Pharrell, they're not the most like groundbreaking things. I haven't seen one collection from Pharrell and thought, wow, the way he designed that thing is like, whoa, that's not what I think about when I look at the LV Pharrell collections. I also find it really interesting that Tyler the Creator said in the interview that his favorite part of this collection is the chessboard.
yeah,
I wonder what his obsession is with
He hand drew it. He said he hand
yeah.
drew
with
it,
the
and
chess.
then they just made it. He said he gave them the literal sketches, and they managed to just
Right,
make it like that. And he was like,
He
"Wow."
said
right,
he referenced from the movie Big with Tom Hanks.
yeah.
Yeah,
I guess it's also a very Louis Vuitton thing to do because obviously Louis Vuitton are known for making these like one-off or like limited edition sort of luggage kind of pieces where it's like some table that converts into a mirror that can like compress back into like a box, or they always make these kind of things. So I guess in that respect, this whole like LV chessboard is another one of those like one-off bits of luggage that you can carry around as luggage, but when you open it, it's something completely different.
like the level of whimsy, like, and this is where like I do believe,
Oh,
like, and I totally agree with you, Michael, that it's like Tyler coded because it's like there's a level of whimsy that is part of this collection that is like really endearing to Tyler the Creator. And I don't think that if Pharrell had done it solely by himself, he would have been able to do it because Tyler is just that type of thinker. But
well, I
then
think
there's
he
Mhm.
just. I just think
oh
he wouldn't have done it. Don't you think? As in, like, it's clearly a collaboration in my eyes, anyway. Like, I see it, and I'm like, oh yeah, like this is Le Fleur. And funnily enough, because the way I saw the headline, and then I saw the collection, and the headline I saw is, oh, Tyler the Creator, is coordinating a LV collection. Then I saw the clothes, and I said, oh no, this is clearly a Le Fleur collaboration, like with LV, which I think it is because they literally used the Lafleur logo at one point, or like the Lafleur mascot somewhere. But it feels like it's more
Right.
under Lafleur, and I think one of the Lafleur graphic designers did a lot of the work here as well, if I remember correctly. Um, and I think honestly, from what I can see, I think this is just a really helpful like one up for Lafleur and teaching Tyler like how things go on at these like super high end houses so that he can like take whatever lessons he's learned there and now go and apply it to his own brand.
And
And
Micah, isn't there a difference? Sorry, quickly, isn't there a difference between like Tyler has different lines, right? So there's golf, which is different to like golf Le Fleur. One of them is more
yeah,
expensive. Is it golf Le Fleur that's more
wait,
expensive?
is Dammy still here actually? Because I wanted to talk to him about this to be fair.
I
Or has he
am,
tapped out for a second? Oh, okay. Yeah, because okay, so linking it back to our conversation in Paris, Dammy. Um, So yeah, Tyler at this point has different lines. It was a bit if you've been following, I think the conversation we were having earlier, Aya, the reason you were a bit confused is because we've been following it for so long that some of them have like become renamed over the years. So
Yeah, Killian
originally,
is saying he may have dropped golf.
No, Golf is very much still here.
I'm not too sure about that. Yeah.
So initially it was Golf Lafleur did a collab with Converse. That's when we first started getting the Converses. Then when
Yep.
Tyler decided, and obviously under his own Tyler, the creator stuff, he's been making merch that has been sold super well for many, many years under Golf Wang and blah, 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 blah. So then eventually it got to the point where when he wanted to start making high-end products, he split them up. So Golf is one brand and Lafleur is another brand.
Yeah, people are saying Golf is a skatewear brand, so that must be the more affordable one.
So Golf are the ones that do, your simple logo T-shirts, maybe the odd hoodie, blah 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 blah, stickers, stuff like that. Lafleur is where you're going to get loafers, trunks, 2,000, 1,000 pound coats, things like that. So that's the separation there.
So the collaboration with Lacoste, because it was kind of a high price point, that would have been Lafleur, right?
Nowadays it's Lafleur. I think the very, very, very first collaboration he did with Lacoste, just before lockdown or whatever, was back when it was called Golf Lafleur. But now that it's just called Lafleur, the recent collaboration was with just Lafleur. And I bring this all up to say, so because of a lot of Tyler's fans are a younger audience or have been following him for so long before he was even on like a high-end fashion thing in their eyes, they're really accustomed to that lower price set that Golf offers. So now all of those people see the really awesome stuff that they feel like he does at Lafleur, or in this case at Louis Vuitton.
Right, so it's out of reach in a way.
Yeah, it's not accessible at all. And he frequently receives like backlash or comments from those people being like, hey, why can't you make affordable stuff? Or like, oh, this is out of our price brackets. I'm sure even on any of these posts that you've got up on the screen, if you scroll like even slightly, I'm sure someone will be saying, oh, the price is too, make it more affordable, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. And at first, I thought that was just backlash in the sense of like, there are always going to be those OG fans who want things to be the way they used to be. But I think he's opened up about like 10 or 14 different stores around the world recently, and they're all Golf stores. They're not Lafleur stores, they're Golf stores. I went to one the other day. They don't sell a single item of Lafleur in these stores. So he's been able to make physical locations based at this cheaper audience, this audience who want like £30 t-shirts, £50 hoodies, that kind of thing. But the Lafleur stuff, the more expensive stuff, it seems like most of his audience aren't quite tapped in with that just yet. And even on the collaboration that he just did with Lacoste, all the prices were super high. And I remember at the time being like, ooh, this is a bit pricey, but like, I'm sure they'll make it good quality and stuff, blah, 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 blah. It was stuff like, I think the varsity jacket was like £1,000. The cardigans were like £400. Then I checked his website today after I saw this LV stuff. Lots of the Lacoste stuff is significantly cheaper than it was initially. Like half, a lot of it's like 50 to 60%.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah.
So I think that.
But does that mean? Maybe... Sorry, to go into this comment, is it kind of what this person's saying, which is like there was no real clear distinction of what was Golf Lafleur and what was Golf earlier, because they're saying that in the mid to late 2010s he was using Golf Lafleur and Golf interchangeably. So I think that's
he's
kind of cleaned that up more recently.
He's cleaned that up. He's cleaned it up. But what the price slashes suggest to me is that a large amount of his audience aren't prepared to pay that higher price point yet, because it was stuff like $400 cardigans are literally on his website for $200, and it's not listed as like a sale. They just adjusted the price quietly. You know what I mean? So I think he's slowly transitioning. He's slowly trying to transition at least a portion of his audience or a new audience towards a higher end or a luxury thing. And that's why I think that like these kind of capsules are probably going to be on the smaller side of on the production side for Louis Vuitton. They're not going to make like tons of these, because I think that audience isn't quite ready to cash out that kind of money for it just yet. But yeah, I don't know. I found it really interesting going into the Golf store, and like they didn't have a single piece of Lafleur. Yeah, in London at least.
Shout out to John. Yeah, definitely like the stream. Dammy, what are you going to say?
I think the Golf price point conversation is interesting. Like, it's interesting for a couple of reasons. One of the main reasons is that when someone prices the way that Tyler is pricing, it doesn't usually work out. However, there is a clear distinction as to the price of particular subsets, right? So like there's a clear distinction between like the price of a scarf and the price of, let's say, a hat. And then there's a
Right.
difference between the price of a loafers, so on and so forth, as price of tennis shoes, and then difference between the price of luggage versus the price of an accessory, right? And Tyler has been introducing this new taste level to his audience, right? And one of the main things that I've noticed is that you can't introduce taste to that at a particular price point that is he's used to moin leather like cases. He's used to these trunks. He's used to all of these things. So
That's such a good point though, because I was literally going to say that where it's like Tyler obviously has really good taste, so does Pharrell, in like the stuff that they show and the stuff that they use. I know Tyler has even sourced cars from people like Arthur Carr. Arthur Carr is like famous for sourcing like vintage cars that a lot of celebrities buy. So he has like these like old BMWs that are like really highly coveted and stuff. But once again, he's been introducing his audience to that taste level, but it's not really accessible, is it? People can't really like you can't access any of the stuff because the price point is just too high. Whether it's cars, whether it's jewelry, whether it's luggage,
And I
clothes.
think a lot of them are just young. A lot of them are like 16, 17, 18. You know, at that age, you can't afford a
yeah, like
£1,000
there's
sweater and like things like that.
like if you're trying to afford like nail polish and stuff like that, it's quite cheap. But if you're trying to go for the perfume, it's quite high. And
Not even just the perfume. The teas are like 80.
psychologically, if I could finish the point, psychologically, it doesn't necessarily make sense, especially when you don't necessarily have a consumer at like that is consistent in your lifestyle choices, right? And this is where one of those things where it's kind of like working, but at the same time, it's not for Tyler the Creator. And this is the other thing, being able to do a collaboration like this with Louis Vuitton actually helps that and it enables that because it's generally given social proof. So as to say that if you can do a collaboration with Louis Vuitton, of course your price is going to go up. And depending on
Mm.
where this is released, you're now going to be seeing Tyler the Creator in certain spaces, or not Tyler the Creator, but Tyler the Creator designs, Tyler the Creator collaboration, Tyler the Creator capsule, however you want to put it, right? In certain places whereby they are introducing him to a new customer.
Yeah,
And this is part of a growth and expansion plan for a particular company. So like when I take away any of the names and I just think, how is a company going to grow from a t-shirt brand into, a luxury consumer brand? And he's like, I remember speaking to Michael earlier, and it's like he's right now situated in the lifestyle brand space, and lifestyle brands prices are abstract by nature because they aren't luxury. So you make things with minimum quantities so that you can sell them and move on and re-up and so on and so forth to get to the next thing.
yeah,
But when you're trying to move up in levels, and then you do growth and expansion and do implementation of collaborations and so on and so forth until you're able to get quantity orders and quality price points for the orders that you're creating to be able to access a different consumer and to be able to
right.
access a different quality good. Because those cases, those trunks, like I was like when I switched on my camera, I was looking at like just like the quality of the trunks and the quality of the actual perfumes and things of that nature. So to see like, okay, how is he gonna level up this quality? And you can obviously see, just like when he was doing the cat tees back in 2012, like he's going somewhere. And like
Yeah,
when he was doing the tie-dye tees and all of these things, like he's very, very far from where he once was. So you can't call this thing merch. So it's lifestyle. And for me personally, when like I look at the 3 to 5 year trajectory of someone that's doing these type of things, like in general, you can't go bigger than Louis Vuitton. Like in reality, just like by numbers, you can't. But you can expand the type of collaboration you do because it's a capsule based on our
Right,
segment,
right,
our
right.
demographic. But if he's now, in people that don't even know who he is, don't even know him as a rapper, then, you know, they're able to unlock a
Yeah.
different type of consumer for him.
And that's what I was saying earlier, that I just feel like, to me, I feel like this is more for him I feel like it does more for him than it does for Louis Vuitton, but time will tell. But yeah, that's definitely how I feel. Especially because now I imagine you have a whole demographic of people, probably predominantly women, who love that like Murakami colorful monogram. And now Tyler's basically just made one for them that they can go and buy. And we'll see in shops. And obviously the Murakami ones, I don't know how much they go for, but it's probably tons. But now that's like a new range of them in place. But yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest, the ladies that buy these bags, they just want something different every time. So they're just waiting for the new design bag, the special Murakami colors, and then they buy that. And it's like, oh, this was the Tyler the Creator collab collection. Like the women that buy these bags have so much money. They can buy every single bag every single season that's different, which is the insane thing about it. What do you think about? I'm not sure if we've talked about the squiggly monogram in depth, and also like these kind of whimsical pieces like the waffle bag with the melting butter and like the maple syrup tag and all these kind of things. What do you guys think about some of the design elements in the collection?
So I was thinking, yeah, that this is where like just the way my brain work comes in is like this collaboration would have done better with Loewe.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's
because they
just
have all
gonna
those off-key customers.
that yeah, so like you know exactly what I'm talking about, but I don't even need to explain that. It's like it just appears to be like the right space to put Tyler the Creator. However, that's when you get into Pharrell is his boy or whatnot, and he loves LV and trunks and so on and so forth. And this is his taste level. However, like it is
Yeah,
what it is. But the style of it, like that level of whimsy that he brings to it, the level of like kitsch, like esque nature to it, is like this is why I think the IP conversation is important because not everybody is going to do this to Louis Vuitton. It's not it's not plausible for just anyone to do this type of thing.
I would
So
say though, there was a lot of whimsy and playful under Virgil, to be fair. Like a lot of it at that.
yeah, I agree.
like
In a different way,
okay,
though, obviously.
okay, yeah, you know what? No, that's fine. But what Tyler the Creator is doing is not what Virgil would do. That's all I'm
That's not
saying.
what I
Like
said. That's not what I said. I just
Yeah,
said
that
it was.
it's in a different
I said
way.
there. I said
is
there used to be a lot of a whimsy and playful feel. All of that's gone now, as they've like shifted direction.
so
Quick
I
But I
think
question for
definitely
both
agree.
of you. Sorry, quick question for both of you, actually. So do you think that Pharrell Williams is going to do the Kim Jones model? There was a time at Dior when Kim Jones was collabing damn near every season, whether it's with a Ghanaian artist or with Stussy or with people like Daniel Arsham and all that sort of stuff. Especially at the start of when he was at Dior, he was doing a lot of these like collaborative efforts every season. Do you think that we're going to see Pharrell do more of these kind of things and have more capsule collections?
my answer simply is yes. And this is what's leading to my point is like because not everybody can do what Tyler is doing, it's important to add this type of IP to the lexicon of LV because Pharrell is talking like when you go back to his original statement, like the one that I think the three of us was confused about when he was talking about Louis Vuitton, probably I think it was this time last year, or even the one that's more recent, but he was talking in a way whereby he's talking about his lifestyle, and his
Right.
lifestyle generally includes people like Tyler the Creator, right? People that can do things on his level, like on understanding that they have the higher band of taste level, but
Right.
are different to him. And I think that he wants to add people to this like gumbo and actually figure out, okay, what is like my taste level isn't just my taste level, it's a lifestyle, a level of luxury.
Mm-hmm.
And continuing on that trend, I think like this is part of the performance of him at LV. So when I say that
Oh yeah.
he's thinking far ahead, that it's not just going to be this, it's going to be several different things in several different directions, and it's going to
I
continue in that
completely
like kind
agree.
of thing.
I think I agree. Mainly because as well, he literally told us it's in the show notes. Like, the whole lovers theme, the point of lovers is just
Yeah,
Pharrell collaborating with
facts.
different people who have been like part of his world, give like that he
Yeah,
respects as well.
building a
And
network of
yeah,
like artists and creators is how he puts it. Yeah,
yeah, like that's just a given. So I think we'll see this more and more with different people who already have extended relationship, like extended public relationships with Pharrell. We'll see lots of these sorts of collaborations, I'm sure. Someone said LV Cactus Plant Flea Market incoming. The thing is, you're not far off. She already works for LV, funnily enough. The owner of Cactus Plant Flea Market did a lot of the styling with Henson and the casting for the last two collections. So it's not impossible, is my point. Yeah, but I completely agree with you, Danny.
Does Cactus Plant Flea Market still exist?
Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you.
I don't actually know. I haven't heard about the brand in a
Don't
while
worry,
in terms of like
my
activations and stuff.
that was my only point. Like I and
Didn't
this
they
the
bang
thing,
a
I prefer not
didn't they bang a
sounding the
McDonald's
way
collab recently?
I prefer sounding not the
I
way
didn't
that
see
it
that.
did.
I don't really follow Cactus Park Flea Market, to be honest.
It's fine.
Uh,
We're
they had
talking
one
about
not that long
people
ago.
on the highest band of a taste level, on the highest band of like, because I understand the trolls and everything like that, but it's like it's fine. I think it's fine.
But it's not a troll when it's not even a troll in this case. I'm saying because obviously she's literally working under LV right now with
No,
Pharrell.
but like like when we talk about collaborations, like at least when my brain starts working about collaborations, IP, expanding the reach, capturing new markets, new and untapped markets, like it's more plausible for them to do a collaboration with, let's say, Naruto than or One Piece than it would be to do one with
Okay,
Cactus
I'm
Plant
not
Flea
talking
Market.
all about that. I'm talking about the lovers theme that he was like putting in the show notes and stuff. I'm saying I think that even applies down to the level of like who he wants doing the casting, who he wants doing the styling. He wants them all to be different people he's worked with in the past, which is why we see like Henson doing the styling.
Yeah.
And I forgot. Oh, it's gonna piss me off. I forgot her name. The owner of Cactus Plant Flea Market. I think her name's like Helen or something. I can't remember. But I think that's
That's it.
also why we see her doing the casting and the styling with Henson and things like that. So even down to the people who are behind the scenes, I think he wants it to be like this like life collaborative effort, which I think in itself is cool. And it's just about the execution. But I think in
No,
itself is cool.
like to be fair, bringing people to a brand that you know has design acumen does work. I think yeah, I was probably saying a separate point that like there's plausibility in like what he's doing with Tyler the Creator, and he's probably gonna elevate in a different way. Like looking at Pharrell's influences, the way that it is, like there's certain types of people, like there's certain things that make sense and there's certain things that may not make sense moving forward. That I think like will all happen. I think everything is within the realm of possibility, so long
Yeah.
as it's on a certain taste level.
I also think he's elevated certain aspects of this. Like even the way the campaign is shot is a bit more visually intriguing than campaigns I've seen from Pharrell so far. Even though this campaign really just looks like a Golf Le Fleur campaign, like people with funny facial expressions. Obviously, in this case, they're playing chess, but like this is a very Golf Le Fleur kind of thing, with like all the design elements to other things and kind of like blurred out on the edges of the frame. That's such a Golf Le Fleur thing. People sliding down a mountain in luggage. But it's a lot more visually intriguing than Pharrell, because he had obviously the campaign with Rihanna, had the campaign with LeBron James. LeBron James is literally just like walking on the street and then like on a wall and stuff. So I think creatively, I did enjoy looking at the campaign because it's just a bit different to what we've seen from Pharrell at LV.
Okay, so can we get to the conversation of like LV taking people's like style and steez and like incorporating it into its like behemoth of a brand? Like,
Right.
are we gonna talk about that?
We can talk about it. This is an interesting comment, though. Don't you think that with this collection, LVMH is trying to see if Tyler would be a good fit for the rumored, soon-to-be vacant position of creative director at Kenzo? That's really interesting. The only problem is there's not really much of a connection between Tyler and Kenzo the way there is with Tyler and LV, if that makes a lot of sense.
This is Dammy's field. I don't see it, but Dammy, I think, is it that you see it now, or is it that you see this is Dammy's field for sure? I don't see it personally.
Wait, why are you just dashing it to me like that? That's kind of
because I thought
pass the parcel.
I thought this was one you had brewing. Maybe I'm way off.
No,
he passed you the hot potato. He chucked the hot potato.
No, I apologize.
I apologize. I didn't invent 10 months ago.
Okay.
I'm talking about. And if I didn't say 10 months ago, then I probably didn't. Yeah, I probably don't believe it. Yeah. Anyways, that's a callback to Paris. But anyway,
good point about the bicycle, by the way, because in the Virgil show,
he
did ride that bicycle. Yeah,
he didn't just ride the bicycle; he done the score.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess my point is that like, how does a behemoth like Louis Vuitton stay relevant?
I guess by having Pharrell as the creative director, someone who's one of the most famous people in the world, literally. My whole thing has always been, once again, and we talk about this all the time, but I'll bring it up again. This idea that, Louis Vuitton were the first brand to make 20 billion euros in a year. And then the conversation becomes, so how do you top that? You're already ahead of every other luxury brand. You make the most money as a luxury brand. How can you possibly push things even further to make even more money and have even better years? That's what I really don't understand. I feel like Bernard Arnault will find a way, but I'm trying to figure out how that is.
Okay, when I think about it, I think about like, what's the highest band, like price point wise, of a Tyler the Creator customer? Like, and then I think
your average one or your like special
the
one?
highest band.
Probably those like leather jackets and like 1.5K.
Yeah, like they go to what's it called? What's his festival called again?
Golf. Camp Flogno.
Flogno. Wow. Yeah. If they would have revoked my Tyler the Creator card if I didn't remember that. Anyway, yo, that was wow. But yeah, people that go there every year, they fly from Europe to go there and for a 2-day like, so I think about that customer and their lifestyle and who, like, what type of space they would occupy and how they believe that this is worlds colliding. Like, they like it LV, but they don't really F with the taste of LV, probably recently, since Virgil left and whatever.
Yeah.
And then here's a person that has been designing for the better part of 15 years on his own personal brand. And then he's incorporating it into the highest level of luxury. So if he's part of this brand, then he must be luxury, right? Because that's technically how it works in like the average consumer's mind.
Yeah, by association.
Exactly. And I think about the highest band of it, like maybe they would spend 3K on a special delivery item that you couldn't get anywhere. I mean, everywhere, all at once, right? Mm-hmm. So the fact that it isn't part of the main line of LV's collection, it's a capsule collection, makes it even that much more desirable. And desire does not mean that it's accessible. Because I think what LV specializes in these certain scenarios, especially when it comes to things that you could possibly get every day and could possibly make for cheaper, like just the highest price point, right? Which is making the attainable unobtainable to the average consumer.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say that's kind of what they're going for, though. They want it to be unobtainable. Bernard Arnault is always talking about how one of the reasons why he was able to make so much money with LVMH is because the middle market was neglected with a lot of these luxury brands. It was either you're super rich or you just don't buy it. And so he was like, what I'm going to do is create products at 3 levels. So we're going to have products for the young consumers to kind of get them warmed up into the brand. So we're going to sell them perfumes, pencils, pencil cases, socks, belts. Then when people get older and they enter the middle class, then we're going to sell them the ready-to-wear, but the cheaper ready-to-wear pieces and maybe a few bags. And then obviously when you're richer, now we can start selling you the really unobtainable stuff, the special stuff, the stuff you see on the runway. So the whole reason why it works is because most of it is unobtainable. So then you buy into the dream. That's what people are buying into when they buy overpriced perfume or socks. They're buying into the dream of what they're seeing as unobtainable, but they feel like they're part of that story because they have a product from the same brand, right? So that's the whole point. It's not supposed to be attainable.
And that is one of the key identifying factors of this particular collaboration for me. Like, obviously, the way that I was bringing up IP and I was like talking really long-winded and doing all of that stuff. The point is that being able to do this, like you say, it does a lot for Tyler, but then it also does a lot for LV, because there is a Tyler consumer that does buy Tyler's £50 things and does buy Tyler's £25 things, but they cannot afford this. And they are 17, they're middle class. They save up for Golf Lafleur sneakers and all of these other things. And now they have these. Do you have the picture of where like they have the like shoes, the skate shoes? And now they have
Wait,
this
one sec.
level of skate shoes that is like it's
Are you talking
LV.
about these ones? These ones.
No,
Those
no,
aren't
no.
skate
There's
shoes,
there's
though.
another
Those
there's
are.
another skate shoes. Yeah, there's actual skate shoes.
Oh, okay.
Wait, give me a sec. Let me just. But
Send me the
so to
link
say,
because I don't think I
yeah, yeah,
saw
yeah.
skate shoes in this collection. I
Don't
saw
worry,
sandals and
don't
like
worry.
loafers and stuff.
It's on GQ. It's on the Give me a sec. Sorry, wait, that's not the link. But yeah, there's like a level that Tyler the Creator is like going towards, where it's like sorry, I've totally
Yeah.
forgot what I was gonna say. Point being is like what's happening now is that like they have shoes that they want that they can't have.
Yeah.
Like they love everything that Tyler the Creator is doing, but they can't get this. And
Mm.
that is injecting a level of desire into people that they didn't know that they had until they were able to see this, which is activating a new consumer base, which is my whole point, is like being able to
Mm-hmm.
activate a new consumer base that you didn't have. But now, just like the girls that buy Miss Dior perfume, they think they're just buying Miss Dior perfume, but in 20 years, they're going to get a Dior saddlebag that they call vintage, but it was a 2018 Kim Jones or 2020 Kim Jones that that was alive or around, I should say, in the lexicon back when they bought their first Miss Dior.
Well,
That's
that's facts though, because so even in the car space, this is something that analysts talk about all the time. It's like most people that are really into cars end up buying cars that they couldn't afford when they were younger. And when they have the money, they don't even, a lot of them don't buy new cars. They go and buy the old cars that they couldn't afford. That's why a lot of old Ferraris, that the technology is actually like outdated. People love the engineering of it, and they have this nostalgia of, oh, when I was a kid I wanted this like Ferrari that came out in the 90s. That's why Porsches that are really old, like the first Porsche 911 turbos, people are still buying those now, even though it's like a flawed car. It's like it's the technology is so old, but it's just people obsessed with the engineering. And that's the same thing with fashion. When people eventually can afford these things, they'll actually go back and start trying to find the stuff that they couldn't afford when they were younger, which is part of the desire that these brands are trying to create.
Yeah, and you know, like the conversation that you were introducing before, like how does LV get bigger? It's by constantly activating a new consumer base that they didn't know that they could have until they did little collaborations like this. Or not
But
collaborations,
how many
capsules
more
like this.
consumer bases are left? Someone in the group chat, sorry, mentioned that LVMH is obviously sponsoring the Paris Olympics, which obviously is really important. It's nothing new. LVMH have been sponsoring sports events forever. That
Don't
being
they sponsor the
said,
NBA?
exactly. But
Yeah.
that being said, it's very timely because obviously LVMH basically runs France at this point. So the fact that they're having Olympics in Paris, it's only right that LVMH sponsors it. But let's be real, the kind of people that are going to the Olympics, they know what LV is. So are they going to really be activating new customers? You have French people that obviously know what it is. And then you have people that can afford to travel to Paris for the Olympics, obviously aren't poor. So these people probably know what LV is. They might have even bought some LV stuff or from another LVMH brand. That's where I'm always like, how do you grow from 20 billion euros in a year? It's like, what customer bases are left to activate? And obviously, like I said, I feel like Bernard Arnault will find a way because he's just that good with these kind of like markets and things, but it's quite interesting.
So you're talking about LV, not LVMH, right? Because like sometimes I get confused in the middle of conversations when we're speaking
Well, I'm
about
talking
two
about both. We're
individual
talking
brands.
about LV because obviously, how do they grow? And that's what we're talking about now. But LVMH as a whole, too, we can have that conversation.
Okay, so because
Like
you bring up
Dior
like
and
two
yeah.
intriguing points, but like I just want to tackle one first and then get to the other if that's all right. So with LV, like how many? Because there's a new crop of millionaires every single year, and if that is the case, then you invest or at least this is like when I was taught business, when I was taught marketing, all of these things, when I was taught advertising, you invest when people are younger.
Right.
And one of the great case studies is with smoking.
Right.
And why do people smoke? Even though there's no health benefits, it's all negative, it's all this, it's all that. It's by when you are a child and the coolest people that you see smoke.
Yeah.
And that's obviously like me butchering like the example, like the study that you can actually look up and all of these other things, but
Yeah.
people generally only smoke because they think it's cool. And
Yeah.
then now you've got like, never mind, but the point now I was going to go into the science, but point being is that you're investing when they're young. So the new crop of millionaires, for them to continually think that LVMH is cool or LV is cool, what do you attach it to? You make it into a brand like Nike, which is attached to greatness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And LVMH, or for all it's worth, or should I say LV in general, is not attached to the greatness of athletic achievement. And that is a land that they can broach based on being part of the Olympics. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to LV, they can consistently stay cool by one being around the coolest of the cool, which is like when I talk about LVMH, or should I say, no, sorry, see, this is where I get confused, where
Yeah.
LV
LV.
is taking,
Yeah.
or let me just say Louis Vuitton. So when I
Yeah.
mean Louis Vuitton, I'm gonna say Louis Vuitton. When I say LV, I'm gonna be LVMH. But when Louis Vuitton does these capsules and works with Virgil and types Pharrell, and the coolest people in the world just happen to be American black people. And then if it moves somewhere else, then it will be
Mm-hmm.
that people. But so on and so forth, you're able to get a whole new audience based upon the way and place that you are going, or where the cool actually is. So being a part of greatness, one, so you will be embedded in people's minds forever, because that's how you generally get into the history books. This is why people get so angry at the Grammys, even though people are like, why do you care about awards? Well, because in the history books, if someone 50 years from now looks back and sees who won the Grammys, like what's a really classic album, you go to the
Right.
Grammys and see, oh, okay, so these are the classic albums of this year. Let me go listen to one of these classic
Yeah.
albums. Anyways, same thing with Louis Vuitton. You go to the thing that injected greatness, or how they injected themselves into greatness. You're going to look at this case study called the Paris Olympics. Of course, they had a trajectory of trying to run Paris for the past 50 years and all of these other things. But when it comes to being attached to greatness, when it comes to being attached to cool, you're going to see this part of their history where it's like it goes Kim Jones, the people that Kim Jones ushered into fashion, and then people that are the children of Kim Jones's children. And then that is
Yeah.
the lineage of cool. That's what it's like called, like in art, it's called the provenance. And you're gonna see the provenance of cool based upon what Louis Vuitton, or should I say who Louis Vuitton is part of. And then it's gonna be now Louis Vuitton is picking who's cool and who isn't cool when all of this is said and
Mhm.
done. Rather than Louis Vuitton just going to the cool thing, they're gonna pick who's gonna be the cool thing. But yeah, let me stop talking.
What did opinion Joe say? As long as they can dress the basketball players coming through the tunnel that all the kids want to be like, they'll have young people buying the brand. Plus, kids can't get clout from quiet brands. Yeah, I think also it's a mentality thing, isn't it? There's an issue with the way people think about fashion. I don't think that will ever change though, in terms of wearing clothes that you don't necessarily like, but just wearing clothes as a way to flex, which I don't know if that thing will ever go, because it's always been a thing in human history. I mean, kings and queens, if we're going like centuries back, they made sure that what they wore, peasants weren't allowed to wear the same things, because it showed that yes, when people see me, they know I'm royalty or they know I'm a lord. So in modern days, it's just, massive monograms of expensive brands. That's the new version of that. And then price becomes a limiting factor in who can wear it. But I don't know. I don't know if you can change that. I really don't know if you can change
Yeah,
that, because I've literally had conversations with people, because people always come up to me and they're like, "Oh, you're like a fashion journalist. You work in fashion." I'm like, "Yeah." Then they start asking me unsolicited questions about their outfit and stuff, and I'm like, "If you love it, you love it." They're like, "Yeah, what do you really think?" And I'm like, "Well, personally, I wouldn't really wear monograms or whatever, but that's just my personal taste. I don't like, if that's what you want to wear, that's what you want to wear." And then they just get really offended. They're like, "Yeah, but it costs £2,000 though," and it's like, like you asked me you forced my hand.
This guy said he's shitting on people's outfits for fun.
I'm definitely not.
Yo, yeah, shout out to the sumptuary laws and all of that stuff, gang, 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 gang. But I forgot. Wait, what was the question? What was the thing that somebody said? Oh yeah, walking down the tunnel. Wait,
You're
I
walking down the
remember.
tunnel, NBA players.
Like, that was invented by advertisers. Like, because what, like, this is one of the more important
Are
points.
you talking about the tunnel walk?
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
they're trying to implement that in football now. They're trying to bring it
they're
to football.
and into running. Like,
Yeah.
like it's important, but it was invented by. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about the provenance of cool, insofar as the way that people can advertise. These things were invented, like, obviously, this because you're a basketballer, right? But just for like the crowd, it was being able to see your favorite basketballers and see not just what they were wearing on court, because that's where it started, right? It was like,
Yeah.
these people are wearing these on court, so if I wear these Jordans, I can be like Mike. But then, there's people that just kind of fathom that you can't be like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So
Also, Michael Jordan did kind of kickstart it, I will say, because Michael Jordan started wearing shoes that were not
Man
team
was getting
colors, so they
fined
were
left, right, and
banned.
center.
Yeah,
Man
and
was getting
Nike was
fined.
paying the fine. So that was the start of people genuinely wearing shoes for fashionable reasons and not because it has to fit team colors. So that's why now you have people like PJ Tucker that just wears anything on the court.
yeah,
And then obviously it led, like you're saying, into like the tunnel outfits and all these things. They kind of just like spread out from these things.
yeah. And the point is that, like, if you're not someone that's keen or cares, you're not gonna know that the reason why these kids think it's cool is because of this thing that happened at X point in time in history before I was born. And now we just kind of understand it as a thing, and say, the cool people look at what they're doing in these tunnels, and there's whole pages dedicated to what people are wearing in their tunnel walk. And I think this is one of the important things where it's like, how do you place yourself in one of these tunnels? Just as the same way as a fashion designer would say, how can I get X or Y artist to wear my clothes? Like, and this becomes a whole litany of things, a whole cacophony of things, and people have massive whiteboards to be able to execute this one particular thing that I forgot the person's name that wrote that they just said. And I think it's just important in terms of the way that businesses run, the way that advertisers run, and what Louis Vuitton is actually doing, rather than like this is, they are trying to be too big to fail type. Like, this is strategic, and they are wanting to stay big, but they're also wanting to grow. And they get the best psychologists, the best business analysts, the best so many different types of people to work on being able to grow as a business. Yeah.
To this comment, I feel like most ballers have the exact same swag. When clubs collab with fashion houses, it flops. I think the ones that do have really interesting style stand out. Like Shay genuinely has really, really good style. Like Shay actually wears stuff. I'm like, oh wow, where did he find that type stuff? And I think it's led to him getting more endorsement deals. And I think it's almost like normalizing a certain level of menswear, the same way that, let's say, Pharrell Williams, Kanye West, A$AP Rocky, they ushered in, like, let's say, our generation into an understanding that menswear is more than just like the average stuff that you see. And there's many different ways to wear menswear. Obviously, like A$AP Rocky wearing like was it a skirt on 106 and Park and getting clowned for it. So I feel like they were taking the hit menswear wise. And then the new generation of that's people like Shay, people like Russell Westbrook. You have footballers too, some footballers, because most footballers, I'm not too fond of the way they dress. They just wear a lot of like Philip Plein and stuff. yeah. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, yeah. That's who I'm talking about. I think he plays for OKC right now.
Like that? Why does she drop his full government
He's
like that?
Yeah, I feel everyone just calls him Shay, so I just call him Shay.
Yeah, like SGA, but yeah, that's how I know.
Yeah, but, SGA.
But Shay's obviously easier, but he's an all-star, so like he's now
on
a bigger stage than whatever he was once on. Like whatever deals he was getting before, they're the size.
Apparently, reportedly they paid Jude Bellingham 40 M's to bring him on as an ambassador.
Yeah. Louis Vuitton.
Oh, okay.
You know, a lot of footballers are becoming ambassadors. I think Jack Grealish is an ambassador for Gucci, and recently someone else became an ambassador for a brand, but I'm forgetting. And fashion is actually, inserting itself in football because it's a big missed opportunity, right? They don't do the tunnel walks yet. There's so much marketing that could be done. The same way that I think Crystal Palace actually hired a creative director just to take care of like their merch and their jerseys around their merch, because obviously like bloke core is such a big thing now, and they brought an actual fashion background designer.
I actually quite like jobs like that.
Yeah,
I kind of like jobs like that, because when it's something like football kit or like sports kit in general that is so like consumed by like the mass of society. Funny enough, I'd argue that like sports gear is one of those things, mainly kit, and like uniform is like one of those things that like general society, that's the part of fashion that like regular people really like. People are happy to spend £100 on kit, you know what I mean? Like for their favorite team, no questions asked. So I think it's actually quite cool, personally, bringing on like creative directors for that kind of stuff, because everyone's happy when the kit this season is hard. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, oh, the kit this season is hard. I'm gassed. Everyone wants to go out and matching it. I remember that one year where like Nigeria just had kit. All of a sudden, all white people left right side of the globe were wearing Nigeria's kit. Like,
yeah. Because normally the thing about that is normally what happens is like all of us used to just buy the Brazil kit or the kit that was cool. It's mostly Brazil or like sometimes England. But yeah, there was that year where Nigeria had that kit where everyone was like, yeah, like everyone was Nigerian for the season. So it's a good point. Also, people are saying that Victor Wembanyama is an ambassador for LV. Yeah, that's true. I think it makes way more sense though because he's French. He's going to be the face of the NBA very soon too, and to have a French player who's basically the face of the NBA, it just makes so much sense for him to be an ambassador for a French luxury brand. It makes complete sense.
My thing
So yeah,
is that with the football kit stuff, yeah, you don't even need to be a winner. That's the thing. Football kits are
yeah,
just
it's true. It's true.
cool.
It's true. It's true.
They're just cool. Now,
It's true.
when it comes to the winners kit, like that the El Clasico kit from like 2004, 2003, whichever year that was, or the Brazil one where they had Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, all of them
Ronaldinho, yeah,
ones.
crazy
That kit, like
crazy
if you
kit.
look online today, that kit is a
Yeah,
ducky.
insane amounts.
But you don't need to win to have the hardest kit of the season. And I think that's the coolest part about football is that it's not necessarily about winning. It's about like how hardcore your fans are. And
Bro,
that's why Crystal Palace's one is important, West Ham's one is important, and Tottenham's one is important because Tottenham has one of the
do you
biggest
know
worldwide
what's funny
championships.
though? You can literally point to every year the kit that is the zeitgeist. Obviously, you talked about the Brazil kit, the El Clasico kit. There was a time when Juventus had this like pink kit that everyone was wearing. Like everyone was wearing that Juventus
Bro,
pink kit.
I wish I had that one till today. I want that till today. You know me, I never give up as well. So when I find it, I'm gonna get it. I'll be real. But yeah, that kit was dead. Oh man.
Leo has the kit. Leo knows the vibes. The pink
Pogba
Juve
core.
kit. Pogba core. That's hilarious.
Bro, some of
But
them
yes,
some of them kits go for stupid amounts, bro. They go for the game worn ones, they go for stupid amounts.
oh, the game on ones, forget about it. Forget about it. The Palace Juventus kit have people speaking Italian in the skate parks.
Wait, I didn't even see this kit. Someone pull it up, I beg. I didn't even see that one.
Oh my days. Yeah, brands have also collaborated for. That's why I find the whole bloke core. I know trends come and go, but I find it quite interesting because obviously it's always been a thing. But then again, being from England, it's just like football culture everywhere. So obviously we're
Yeah,
just going
like
to be
calling it
surrounded by
blow
it.
cool. It's so
Yeah.
like as a Brit, it's so like wow. Is this what they
Yeah,
call it out there? I was like,
It's
this is my
weird.
life.
No, my favorite thing as well is like when you take screenshots or just like pictures in the street of like London or Britain or whatever, and you post them online. Americans get bare confused about like what season it is because some man will be in like a puffer and a belly, and then the guy next to him will be in like shorts and football kit. And like you just don't know.
I'm convinced English people don't get cold because in the heat of winter, like the heat of winter, like the peak of winter, people wear shorts, and it's like, how?
Yeah,
I'm shivering in like 10 layers. How could you?
bro.
But then people say it's the alcohol.
This is supposed to be cold right now. It was 15 degrees today. This is winter. We're still in winter, by the way. And it was 15 degrees today. I went out in a jacket, like just chilling. And I wore a short sleeve shirt as well. That's wild.
Also, talking
Wow.
about kits, do you guys remember Yoji used to make a lot of the kits for Real Madrid, and some of them were really cool. I remember there was a Real Madrid Yoji kit that had like dragons on the sleeves and stuff. I wanted it when I was younger, but I couldn't afford it, and I
Yeah,
don't know where to buy it now.
it's impossible. Mm-mm.
Yeah, but that's part of it.
Rah, rah.
Don't worry, bro. With God, all things are possible. Don't worry
No,
about
God will provide, fam. Honestly, God will provide. You should fast for 30 days before you can get that one. I'll be real.
it.
Like,
No be smarting, though. No be smarting.
No, man. Some of that Y3 stuff, yeah, that was a different era of everything, bro. I'm
No,
like,
literally.
Oh, bro, I bet. Can you pull up this Daniel Lee
Yeah,
comment?
I found these are the Madrid kits with the dragon in the middle. That
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
this is
like,
tough. This is
yeah,
tough. This is tough.
that kit was hard.
Yeah, this is tough.
No, Y3 2015-16 was an error. Yeah, I have a Y3 jacket that's like 9 years old. That is just like I'm never selling that jacket ever.
mm. No, that's
What's the comment you're talking about, Micah?
Not to change
Okay,
the
I found it.
subject, but yeah.
When are you going to talk about Burberry and Daniel Lee firing rumors?
I don't like
To be
how
honest,
every time he
yeah,
shows
go
a
on. What are you going to say?
collection, there's like a new wave of firing rumors. What's that? Who started these rumors, fam? It's literally every single collection.
To be fair, this season, once again, it didn't come from me. A good source told me that he might get fired, but that has
But do
nothing
they?
to
So,
do with
okay,
like
so
me or
does
whatever.
this information happen though, like prior to the collection, or is it? Oh, am I expected
No,
to believe in Burberry? They
the
sit and wait
person
for
that
the
told
reaction,
me,
and then are like, "Oh,
the
we're firing
person,
him."
the person that told me this before the show even happened. To be fair,
Okay. I don't know. I just feel like it's every season. Is what I'm saying. They're like, "Oh, I think they're gonna fire Daniel Lee." Da, 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 da.
people like to create a rumor,
Okay,
but the thing is,
Dammy's locked in. Look at Dammy, he's locked in, bro.
with the Burberry collection, I just want to say quick, I haven't fully taken it in, so I don't really have much to say other than I still think that he's going with that, duck hunting, really British heritage aesthetic, which is authentic to Britishness, but I think maybe it's not resonating with a lot of people. But then who knows? Because just because it's not resonating with people on Twitter doesn't mean that, people that actually go duck hunting won't end up buying it. But what are you going to say, Dami?
so. I want to ask you guys, on a side note, but I'm gonna bring it back home. Did you see that tweet? I know you did, Aaron, of that person who said, "Who is this woman that hangs around with all of these celebrities?" And it was Rick Owens' ex-wife, Michelle Lambert.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
I haven't seen that. I didn't
Like
see that
every
tweet.
year that happens. Every year that happens. And I think it's so interesting that people are like, and that's what always reminds me that the fashion community is so small, because like we can have our biggest celebs be unknown to the general population, and it's just one of those things that exists.
Mm-hmm.
For as much media as fashion gets, I should say, right? And for me, I think there's two phases of this, right? Whether or not like Daniel Lee is getting fired, like is what it is. Like there's part of Burberry that's losing money, but there's part of Burberry that's initiating a different growth strategy. So they're actually in a transitional period of their business. I think I sent you the article earlier today. I didn't necessarily tell you to read it, but I think I just sent it to you.
Yeah.
Talking about Burberry.
And there have been articles, like even in the Financial Times not too long ago, I remember reading an article about like how they're transitioning their strategy, because obviously like money wise, they were like not losing money, but their market share was reducing.
Yes. Yeah. And that is like key, right? Because that doesn't mean that they're shrinking as a business. However, when you are transitioning as a business, that means you're activating capital and burning cap at a fast rate.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the major things was that Burberry has a lot of clothes in outlets. and 40% of their revenue comes from outlets. For brands of their level and stature, it's about 13% of their revenue comes from these outlets. Wait, is it revenue or is it growth? Give me a second. Wait, I actually want to know the revenue, and I'm pretty sure it was revenue, but I'm gonna fact check myself in a second. But just to say my point is that right there, being taken away like with your stock from outlets, especially when almost half of it comes from these places, is a big deal. And then transforming that to a different growth strategy is gonna change the game, because I don't know whether you guys remember also the article about how much stock that Burberry burns per year,
Oh yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they ended up
Yeah.
donating it to universities because of all of the backlash that happened. So like, this
Mhm.
isn't like some, oh, this happened when Daniel Lee came into the picture. This is Burberry as a business. So in this past decade, and like, who's running the ship? What is their strategy for the next 10, 15 years as a British heritage brand? And like, who really has like stake in Burberry succeeding as one of the premier British heritage houses? So I think that Daniel Lee's part on in that, like as one of their the premier British designers, like it's literally Daniel Lee, J.W. Anderson, maybe Sam Ross, but then there's a national treasure called Martine Rose that exists, but she
Mhm.
exists within fashion, so on and so forth. Um, so she may be going to Burberry thereafter if Daniel Lee's leaving. And in this trajectory that he's going, I would say that Martine Rose would be the like best successor thereafter, but who knows? Point being is that Daniel Lee is not part of, like, whether Daniel Lee keeps or loses his job is not based on his designs.
Mhm.
It's based upon the strategy that they're going to implement, so that when they take their money out of the outlets, or shall I say, stop
Mm.
generating revenue from the outlets and generate it in a different place, that
Yeah.
when they're shrinking, who they're going to put in the helm. Because just like in Britain, where you have a transitional government, just like we have right now, it looks terrible regardless. And you don't want the greatest of your
But
greats
isn't I was just
in
gonna
that
say,
transition period.
isn't that always the case though? Like in terms of designers are never fired for designs, it's always what is selling. So that's the same reason why
No,
Demna
but he wouldn't be
is
fired for what is selling though. He'll be fired for a change in strategy, a change in growth strategy.
if
Because
they don't see him inside it. But the the thing is, to me, it's all about sales, right? Because like going back to Demna once again, Demna makes merch collections with like grocery stores, and he like from a product perspective, there's nothing really interesting about a lot of what he does, especially recently. Outside of the couture collections, his couture collections are still like sensational. And even in the ready to wear shows, he always has like the last few looks that are like couture level. But the core product that he puts on the runway is literally just hoodies and sweatpants and stuff. But they don't care because it sells. And he's risen Balenciaga from how many hundreds of millions to like damn near $1 billion brand. So that's why he's always going to be there. He has a space there until they start losing loads of market share. That's the only time they'll decide to get rid of them now. Otherwise,
fair,
he'll
you
forever
know
be
what?
there.
Like that last point is like absolutely fair, because he was part of the reason why they grew, but then that's also because like they had a positive growth strategy, right?
Hmm.
Like, and as much as I agree with you, like there's just more moving parts than whoever's the CD of Burberry when it comes to like this
Yeah.
particular portion. So it's like, if anybody was a CD, whether the fashion public hates Daniel Lee or loves Daniel Lee, like just like with the TC era, like all of the different eras, right?
Mm.
Who is making Burberry grow? And if they can pass the buck and the buck just so ends up at Daniel Lee's feet, and they're like,
Yeah.
the reason why we're losing money right now is because of this guy, even though taking money out of the outlets is going to be one of the main reasons why they lose money, having a cheaper designer there is probably going to be more important than having the best designer there.
Mm,
And then whatever happens to that cheaper designer is just gonna be whatever happens.
yeah.
Because they don't care about the news. They care about, okay, I'll be grown in this period. So yeah.
What did Sergio say? I believe this will help Tyler's brand to get more attention and sales as the cheap, not so cheap version of what he's showing at LV. Interesting. So the prestige of him doing a collection with Louis Vuitton will basically mean that there'll be more interest for his brands that are at a lower price point. What do you guys think about that?
Pardon.
What
I
do you
just
guys
saw
think about that
agree.
comment?
I
saying
agree
that
more or
he
less.
wants to see Taylor Swift in her bonnet. So I was cackling in my head.
I've been going crazy in the chat today, not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, you're going off in the chat. I've been like, I'm now reading the chat because of by consequence of me seeing that.
To be honest, the chat always goes crazy. The people in the chat are
Yeah.
hilarious. I love it though, the jokers.
Taylor Swift in a bonnet is wild, bro. But
No,
what
but
was
it's
the
an
question?
LV
Sorry,
bonnet. It's an LV bonnet. It's part of a growth
The L-
strategy. Get that.
growth strategy. What was the
The
question?
Louis
What was
Vuitton
the
bonnet.
question?
Essentially, the person was saying that Tyler's brand will get more attention because what he's selling is a cheaper version of what he's showing at LV. So, what do you think about that?
Potentially, but I think it would just be a byproduct of like his price going up. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Maybe it's cheaper. Like it's the same thing with like it's not the same thing. I don't know why I said it like that, but it's akin.
Are you talking about retails? Are you talking about RRPs or what?
Yeah, like I'm just trying to fathom what they're saying, because I don't think that what he's making is a cheaper version than what's happening at LV. However,
In
it
terms
will
of actual
be
price, though,
price
in terms
point,
of RRP,
price
it
point.
is
Yes, it's going to
cheaper.
be cheaper, but like in terms of quality of goods, like because there's obviously like a curve, isn't there? It's like there's the law of diminishing returns. So there's only so far as you can make the quality high and get the right price point for a good, and then it stops being about price point and starts being about who is the consumer buying this good. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I think that if Tyler is introduced to a new customer, like one, that new customer needs that thing to be that price point, but then people see the golf trunks as more obtainable, so they're going to be like, you know what, it's not cheap, but I'm getting the more obtainable version. So it's like it's language, but then it's also an understanding of like, because the price point, or should I say the bar, has been raised in terms of price, there's a value add to whatever he's doing. So like
Right.
it's interesting. I kind of agree, but like
Micah, you're so stupid for that comment, by the way.
Sorry,
You're an idiot.
I can't. I'm unhinged today.
You're having way too much fun in this chat.
Wait, okay,
Way
so
too
do
much
you
fun.
believe Beyonce's beauty brand is going to be a collaborator or a capsule collection of what Pharrell was doing?
What LV? Potentially. That's more a question for someone like Understitch. I feel like Understitch would be the perfect person to ask that kind of question.
Well, Fenty's already part of the LV.
Because Understitch is tapped in with the beauty industry in a way that I'm just not.
I didn't even know it was possible to be as tapped in as they are.
Leah says, did you see Sean McGear's McQueen preview? Are you talking about that campaign that they did with like the models just running around in the woods with skulls? Is that what you're talking about, or is that something else I didn't see? That came out like a while ago, no?
Yo.
Okay, so yeah, it is that campaign. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I saw it.
You woman knew. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Anyway.
These songs of baby hairs unboxed, right?
Yeah, that crazy, my boy. That crazy, my boy. How can LV sponsor box braids? That's wild.
You know, activating a new market. You know,
Activating a new market is actually wild. You're wilding, bro. I said
activating a different target demographic, activating the
Okay.
urbans.
Okay. Yeah, like is so seeing as we're talking about British designers, right? We're going round the circle, round and round. Sam Ross. I didn't get your
Right.
thoughts.
My thoughts on some. Well, to be honest, I remember someone mentioned in a live stream like months back that Sam Ross had like sold a majority share of A Cold War, and shortly after, the person DM'd me the link of Company's House, and back then you could see it. So I'm quite surprised that they only announced it recently, because it's like he sold the majority share quite a while ago. So I don't know. Maybe they're waiting to put in, because obviously in that article, I think they said they have a new like design director and a few other people they've appointed. So maybe they were just waiting for that to be in place before they make the announcement. But I kind of already knew that that was the case, because I'd seen it from the person that like put me onto it.
You're such a journalist, man.
How?
I need you to say something salacious, bro. I need you to say something editorial. I need you to throw a dart somewhere, fam. See where it
Like
lands.
what? I mean, at the end of the day, like, to be very honest, being a designer is difficult. It's stressful. And if a designer has a good exit strategy, like Samuel Ross did, I don't know how many millions he sold A Cold War for, but I'm imagining it's a good fee.
Why are you lying? You know the figure.
And he can. What makes you think I know the figure?
Because I told you the figure, so I know you know the figure.
Putting me on blast. I don't want to say the big
That
figures
is
that Samuel Ross
wild that you just said that.
is earning.
You have no coup. For real, for real. I'll be real.
I just don't want to bait out Samuel Ross's numbers, but
No, I'm
basically,
trolling. We don't say anything on
anyway,
this.
Okay, so
we were
someone
having
said
the
it was
conversation. I don't know
60
whether it was.
million.
Yeah, whichever number it is, Lord knows. But we were having a conversation last year, and we were talking about how, because he doesn't necessarily have control, like, because I forgot how the conversation came about, but we're talking about Tomorrow Group, and
Yeah, he's doing other stuff.
Yeah,
You
and
could
how he has
tell when he was
SRA,
losing
and he actually
control.
makes
Yeah.
the main brunt of his money with SRA, out other than a Cold War, and he's the only one out of the group that really is able to do that. And how
he
much
collaborated with
business he is.
Hublot through SRA.
Aqua de Palma.
The furniture stuff.
Yeah.
All that like Art Basel and like all these things. That's all through like his other creative endeavors. And he always has those, like, last time I spoke to him, he was telling me that he always comes up with ideas and then makes like a whole like company around it to see if like how it can do. So you remember like Concrete Objects?
Yeah.
The person he made Concrete Objects with, I think, just wasn't really feeling it anymore, so they closed that. Then he had like Polythene Optics. He experimented with that for a bit, and he also uses these like diffusion like companies to sort of experiment with different ways of doing things. So Polythene Optics was just a way for him to like use different fabrics and like experiment with different things that he then brought that understanding to A Cold War. So the same way, like, SRA is now what he's focusing on, and he's always done that, to be honest. But you could tell when he started selling a lot of his ownership to Tomorrow Group, and he had less control. Things were a bit more commercial, and you could even see that he was a bit less hands-on with it. You could just see he was just focusing more on SRA. So the writing was on the wall already.
Lads, I'm gonna go and escape to the chat, because obviously the chat seemed to want a lot of my time and my opinion at the moment. I'm gonna go give it some over there. That's been lovely
Guy's an
talking,
idiot.
lads.
He just wants to be a menace in the chat. Absolute waste, man. Just wants to be out here menacing in the chat. I see you. Dammy, you're muted. I don't know why, but I can't
Yeah,
hear you.
there's something's happening in the chat right now that I'm not going to read out loud. So yeah, but
It's Micah's fault. Micah started talking about BBLs and stuff, and now everyone's saying that when you buy Margiela Tabby boots, it comes with a BBL.
that's crazy.
It's literally Micah's fault.
Well, you can buy 6 modular tabbies, or you can buy 1 BBL. So there's that. No, but I think I just as a British designer, I just wanted to be able to clip this up, and now we spoke about BBLs in the Sam Ross portion of this conversation. So like, yeah, I don't know
Go
what we're
on.
gonna do with this.
What were your thoughts in general on like the Sam Ross news, like the A Cold War news?
I think it's like okay, like you make companies to like either have an exit strategy or go public, and he's one of those people that like decided to exit. But do I believe that the way that he exited was of his own accord? Not really.
Right.
But do I believe that the exit strategy came at an apt time? Yes, I do. So it's like one of those things where he can focus on SRA, he can wash his hands of a Cold War and actually deliver something else. But
Right.
do I believe that a Cold War could have been bigger if he had owned more of the business, had more creative control, and was with the business for longer? Yeah, like I don't see how they're going to
Probably.
survive without him. But then there is a precedence for designers exiting their houses and then coming back because people were effing it up. So yeah.
Yeah,
But like
facts.
now this
I
is
mean,
the limit.
that's
Yeah,
happened
go on.
to everyone, even down to like Yoji. Do you remember when
Yeah,
Yoji like left
that's
his
exactly
brand? It
what I was
wasn't
thinking
even
about.
for that long, and they damn near ran it into bankruptcy. So then he came back and was like, "No,
Yeah,
I'm gonna design till I die," type thing, because he don't want
yeah,
people to use his name and like run it to the ground.
yeah. If they run it to the ground, and then he's able to buy it for like, a percentage of what he sold it for, then that is also good business, in my opinion. Like, to be fair, it's not really my opinion. It's like the opinion of like people that have been doing business way longer than me.
No, no,
But
that's like so many people. I remember when I was working at BOF, I interviewed this jewelry designer who sold his brand to Brooks and Brothers, and then Brooks and Brothers went bankrupt, and then he bought it back for like a fraction of what he sold it for. So he basically made tens of millions in profit, and he owned his brand,
yeah,
which is like the perfect scenario.
and I think like him announcing that he's exits a big chunk of the consumers
Yeah.
with him. Like, so making sure he's like, because in certain contracts there is like a stipulation that you can't talk about your deal in a time of that working. So it's like there's possibly, not saying that I know anything, I'm just like some
Mm-hmm.
speculator speculating, but you know, that time is up and now he's able to talk about it. And then now when people see newer Cold War, he's able to say, well, that's not me. And then
Mm-hmm.
if it, goes down or goes up or does whatever it does, um, he either proves that he is the brand and he should have the creative control, or he proves that he built something that can outlast him and do better without him, which is like both things are
Right.
positive.
Right.
Like he got the cash that he needed to inject into SRA. So yeah, like for whatever sum it is, if it was M's, that's even good, because anyone that gives you a couple M's now, I doubt that
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people out there that know what to do with M's and how to actually allocate those type of funds. So yeah, that's just my personal thoughts on that.
No, no, 100%. I think on that note, we'll close the stream. I was guessing kind of late. It's approaching 1 a.m. Damn. But thank you everyone for tuning in and discussing the Pharrell Williams inviting Tyler the Creator to do a capsule collection at LV before everyone started talking about BBLs, and I don't know what the hell they're talking about right now.
What?
But stay tuned for future live streams, and I'll be back soon